The float pool office at Fort Bragg Memorial was the kind of place nobody wanted to end up, a rotating assignment for nurses who didn't quite fit anywhere else. And that was exactly how the staff saw Corinne Ashby, just a float nurse. They called her behind her back, someone who drifted from ward to ward filling gaps, never staying long enough to matter. She never corrected them. She simply clocked in, did her work with quiet precision, and clocked out, carrying a stillness about her that some mistook for distance and others mistook for nothing at all. Nobody knew that the hands changing for bags in the pediatric ward had once steadied against gunfire in places that didn't appear on any map. If you've ever been underestimated by people who only saw the surface of you, keep watching, because Corinne's story is about to remind you that the quietest people in the room are often carrying the loudest histories. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon when 3 black SUVs rolled up outside the hospital's east entrance. No sirens, no announcement, just a quiet urgency that made the security guards straighten their shoulders. 4 men stepped out in tactical gear, faces hard and unreadable, moving with the kind of discipline that doesn't belong in a hospital lobby. Their team leader, a broad-shouldered man with a scar through one eyebrow, approached the front desk and asked for someone by a name none of the administrative staff recognized. "We need Beacon," he said. "Tell her Reaper team is here." The receptionist blinked in confusion, insisting there was no one by that name on staff, until a young orderly who had once overheard a strange phone call in the break room hesitantly spoke up. "Wait, could you mean Corinne Ashby?" The soldier's eyes snapped toward him with an intensity that silenced the entire lobby. Word spread through the hospital corridors faster than any code blue alert, nurses whispering, doctors pausing mid, all wondering what a floating nurse from the general pool could possibly have to do with 4 men who moved like they'd walked straight out of a classified briefing room. Corinne was in the middle of drawing blood from a nervous 10-year-old when a supervisor burst in pale-faced, saying men from special operations were asking for her by a Calson. She finished the draw first. Calm as ever, patted the boy's hand, and told him he'd done great before she finally stepped into the hallway. The moment she saw the team leader's face, something in her posture changed, straightened, hardened, the stillness replaced by a recognition that made the hardened soldier's shoulders sag with relief. "Beacon," he said, voice cracking slightly. "Doc, we need you." Petrov didn't make it through his surgery clean, complications nobody prepped for, and command said if anyone could stabilize him mid-transport, it was you. The hospital staff stood frozen as Corinne, in her ordinary scrubs, calmly asked for a trauma kit, oxygen equipment, and directions to their aircraft, speaking in short, clipped medical terms that sounded like a language none of them had ever heard her use. It turned out that years before she became just a float nurse, Corinne Ashby had served as a combat medic attached to special operations units, earning the calcine Beacon because, in the darkest extractions, when radios failed and hope felt thin, her voice guiding teams back to safety was the one steady light they could follow home. She left with the team that afternoon, and for 6 hours the hospital didn't know if she was even still in the state, let alone if she'd return. When she finally walked back through those same doors near midnight, exhausted, blood on her sleeve that wasn't hers, she learned that Sergeant Petrov had survived, stable, breathing, alive because of decisions made in the back of a moving vehicle under conditions that would have broken most trained physicians. If a story like this makes you want to look twice at the quiet, unassuming people around you, take a second to like this video and subscribe, because somewhere near you right now, someone is carrying an entire history nobody has bothered to ask about. The hospital administration offered her a permanent position after that night, a real title, real recognition. Corinne only smiled and said she preferred floating, that some people are meant to go where they're needed most, not where the